Hello, this is Fuyong Hai and welcome to part 3 of my review of Master Grade VO. Now, before we go into the inner frame, which you obviously do not see here, we're going to go over the weapons and the gimmick, or gimmicks basically. He doesn't have too much, but what he has is pretty nice. Now, let's put this guy out of the way a bit. The first weapon he has is this big beam rifle, and it has some pretty nice details on it, but yeah, it's all gray basically, so you really have to use some panel linings on this to make it look really good. And yeah, nothing moves on this thing. Yeah, this part, you just slide it forward and you can take it off. If that's meant only for constructing, or it's an ammo clip or energy, whatever, I have no idea. So that's basically the only thing that moves. Now, with this weapon comes one of my few complaints about this kit. First of all, related to the weapon, well, I'm not looking at the weapon right now, but it does it now. The arm can, if you mess with it too much, move kind of sloppy. That's because if I take them off, the peg that's in the shoulder is just a little bit too short, in my opinion, to properly fit into the arm. Now, there is no polycap in the arm to slide it into. It's just slides into an ABS piece. But as I said, the peg is a bit too short, so it tends to go floppy, and you have to push it in until you feel it's in place, and then it's as stiff as it should be. But still, I think that's a real designing error of this kit, which is sloppy. There's no other word I can think about. Now, back to the weapons. The weapon, the beam rifle, he can hold it. Just put him in the hand. There is a peg on the hands, just like the RX-78 2.0, because it's the same hand, but for some reason he cannot hold it on the peg. The peg is too shallow, or the hole in the beam rifle is too big, I don't know, but he will not hold it on the peg alone. Now, it's not a very big disaster, because the hands are so articulated and sturdy, he can hold it. There's absolutely no problem with him holding it without using the peg. So even though it doesn't really work, it doesn't hinder how he can hold it. So it's compensating for an error. Now, the other weapons he has are basically another bad point about this kit. It's not really a bad point, it's just more that I'm disappointed. I think a lot of you are. Now, in the side skirts, each of the side skirts are 2 beam sabers. You can easily just slide them out, and you get 2 transparent yellow beams, which easily go in there and have a nice beam saber. Now again, he doesn't really want to hold it on the peg alone. He holds it a bit better than the beam rifle, but it's still not perfect. If I can just get it in there, I will be able to show you. But of course, if you're reviewing this, it's never going to fit. Now, he holds it, but it's very loose. But again, just like with the beam rifle, you basically don't drop it. Don't drop it. You put it in the hand over the peg, close the hand, and he holds it very well. If you actually put it on the peg, which mine doesn't at the moment, There we go. Yeah, I'm standing in a bit awkward position to do this, so it's not really going to work. But if you put it in his hand properly, you're going to have no problems in any motion at all. So that's not the negative part about these beam sabers. Again, you get 2 beams, but wait. As I said, the side armor each has 2 beam sabers. So wait, you get 4 beam saber handles, but only 2 blades or beams. Why? It's a very expensive kit. Why only 2 beam sabers? I just don't understand it. Now, if you're not acquainted with the O in the show, you might think, why does he need 4 anyways? You can't use 4 at the same time. Wrong. Because that's where the gimmick comes in. As I said in part 2, the front skirts can move forward quite a bit. And there's where the gimmick is. From beneath the armor, oh my gosh, what do we got? A hidden arm. Yes, a hidden arm. Seraphy was not the first one. The O did it in Zeta Gundam. Only a few years before Seraphy did. Now, these hands, I can show them. Let's just zoom in because they're just too small. Like this. They're actually pretty nice. These arms by themselves, they're on 2 joints. Basically 1 joint that swivels them forward and 1 joint that makes them go up and down. As you saw, you can rotate it. So it has a fair amount of movement. It's not awesome, but it's a fair amount of movement. I'm more than satisfied with it. Now the thumb is fixed on the hand. And as you can see here, or maybe not, it has a small peg on it, so you can get the beam saber and just put it on the peg. And this holds. You can hold it like this, but of course you can close it up so it holds it. The other 2 fingers or claws, whatever they are together, so they move together. So you can just make them hold a beam like this. And of course, to make the awesomeness complete, we put it in the other hand as well. Unless we drop it on the floor. Which I always do, of course. So we're just going to put it in, close it up, put the beam in, and for good measure, let's zoom out. Doesn't this look awesome? Imagine how awesome it would have looked with 4 beam sabers displayed as it should. So on that, shame on you, Bandai. This is pathetic. It's a loose runner, so there's no excuse to just throw another one in. But this concludes basically the weapons, accessories, and gimmicks. So in the few minutes I have left, let's go into the inner frame. Alright, this is the inner frame, and I'm just going to take you on a quick tour of this inner frame, because it's actually very, very detailed. Just show it to you in general. It's obviously a lot of pegs, but overall it looks pretty nice. Even like this, it still looks very, very big. It doesn't look like a scrawny guy, except for these pathetic little arms here. But for the rest, it's okay. Now, let's show you the back. And this is where it starts to get a bit funny. Yeah, it's just basically 2 big plates, so to say, that make up the back, so it's really not that interesting. So let's quickly turn it forward again. And now it's like this. I can actually show you something I couldn't show it clearly in the review. I'll take off the front skirts. The hips are actually on a little, yeah, what you call it? Sort of a joint, I guess. If you push it, it can basically, yeah, fall apart. You can wiggle like this, and when it's forwards like this, you can lock it in. So yeah, I guess you can make it sit down if you wish. Have a nice cup of tea, or have them bend over to pick something up. I don't think I'll ever use this, but it's a nice touch that it's there. Now, as you probably see, that parts are falling off all over. That's because, yeah, these hoses, they're basically covered by armor plating, and yeah, when you remove it, they just fall out. So that's not surprising. It's just something you have to look out for. So yeah, this is basically its inner frame. I can show you, however, now it's like this, how the arms are constructed. Actually, they're pretty stiff at the moment. You can't believe it. There we go. Let's see if the camera can pick this up. It's basically just hollow, and the pack just has to slide through there and basically lock at the bottom. But it's just not that good at it. As you can see, if it's in, it can be in pretty good, but you just have to find the sweet spot. And if you're doing it correctly, which I'm obviously not, you should hear a clicking sound, which obviously doesn't want to go now. There we go. So that's basically how, or why the shoulder is how he is. Now actually, I found, while putting the armor off, I kind of found the sweet spot for this shoulder. It's a bit more stiff, but it's still nothing really to write home about. Yeah, what more can I say about it? It doesn't really look like the O like this. It's just a big bulk. However, if I can find the head of this huge pile of armor parts, there we go. You can see the head is just hollow. It's like, yeah, a pointy head that you put on and click in place. Now it looks more like the O. Bit weird, but still. Now, the mono eye that's inside of the head, let's zoom in there. It's easier to show like this. Yeah, you can't really see it on camera, but when you take the head off, or the hat, or however you want to call it, you can basically move the mono eye left to right. Now if you've painted it with a nice color, you can actually see it, but yeah, there's a plastic transparent visor in front of it, so you have transparent visor, transparent eye. You just can't see it. So yeah, painting that is absolutely necessary if you want to make this guy look at least a little bit nicer. And yeah, that's basically all I can say about the inner frame. It's I think if you give it a nice paint, get nice accents here and there, I think it has the potential of looking pretty awesome. But the way it's now, I prefer it with this armor on. So yeah, let's wrap this up. And yeah, next part I'll give you my final thoughts on this kit, and I hope I can tell you whether or not this price tag this guy has is worth your purchase. So see you then.